Hey there, Steeler Nation. The Pittsburgh Steelers are pushing harder than ever this offseason to get better, stronger, faster, and more competitive. And if there's one thing this team is focused on, it's improvement. That means tough decisions, bold signings, and possibly a Hall of Fame quarterback joining the fold. So before we dive into this wild connection between Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, and what it might mean for the Steelers' quarterback future, smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It helps us keep bringing you exclusive Steelers news, rumors, and hot takes. Let's get into it. Okay, Steelers fans, let's talk about what's really cooking behind the scenes. We all know the frustration that's been boiling throughout this offseason. The Steelers don't have a clear QB1. The end of the 2024 season was rough. And while names like Mason Rudolph and even some rookies have floated around, the one name that won't go away, and for good reason, is Aaron Rodgers. Since free agency opened, the Steelers have shown serious interest in the future Hall of Famer, but the decision has dragged on, with Rodgers staying silent for weeks, until now. Aaron Rodgers finally stepped into the spotlight again during his appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and Steelers fans should be very interested in what he had to say. Let's rewind a bit. Earlier this offseason, Rodgers visited the Steelers facility. That's right, he spent extended time in Pittsburgh. And if that wasn't enough to stir up the rumors, he was later spotted throwing passes to none other than DK Metcalf during a workout session at UCLA. Rodgers spoke openly about that moment for the first time, and his words, they say a lot. Part of the process with this whole thing is just seeing how my body responds, how I feel. I wanted to see how it felt to throw with DK. Let me just say this. What a great dude. He loves football. What a specimen this guy is. That doesn't sound like a man on the verge of retirement, does it? Rodgers didn't just toss a few passes and leave. He was glowing about Metcalf. I've had a few conversations with DK, and I just think he is a super guy. I've enjoyed getting to know him a little bit and throwing to him. What a talented guy he is. For a quarterback with Rodgers' resume, four-time MVP, Super Bowl champ, and the architect of some of the NFL's best offenses, Metcalf might just be the kind of weapon that tips the scale. And let's not forget, this would also give him a supporting cast that includes George Pickens. At least for now. More on that in a minute. Now here's where things get real. You might assume Rodgers would demand a king's ransom to play in 2025. After all, he's one of the most accomplished quarterbacks of this generation. But nope. Rodgers dropped a bombshell during the interview. I'd play football for $10 million. Let that sink in. That's not just a bargain. That's a steal for a QB of Rodgers' caliber. He's not holding the Steelers hostage. He's not demanding $30 million, $40 million, or dragging the process out for leverage. He's interested and he's playing this thing straight. That means the Steelers can keep their cap space flexible, build around him, and still make smart moves elsewhere. It also explains why Pittsburgh hasn't rushed to the draft or signed another starter yet. They're waiting on Rodgers. Now this brings us to the second half of this wild off-season equation. Let's shift the focus to George Pickens. Yes, he's electric. Yes, he's talented. And yes, Steelers fans love him. But Pickens is entering the final year of his rookie deal. And here's the thing. His trade value across the league is sky high. After sending a second-round pick to Seattle to get DK Metcalf, many assumed the Steelers lost their shot to trade up in the draft for a top-tier QB. But if Pickens is worth the equivalent of a second-round pick, then maybe that window isn't shut after all. Let's say Pickens is worth roughly the 52nd overall pick, about 380 points on Jimmy Johnson's draft value chart. Combine that with Pittsburgh's 21st overall pick, 800 points, and now you're talking about 1,180 total points, just enough to crack the top 12 in the draft. And guess who owns pick number 12? The Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? They're looking to trade down. Let's entertain this idea. If the Steelers don't land Rodgers or they want to hedge their bets with a long-term option, this could be the draft where they make the move. Whether it's Jackson Dart or Shedder Sanders, getting into that top 12 range gives Pittsburgh a real shot at grabbing their QB of the future. Giving up Pickens would hurt, no doubt. But adding Metcalf softens the blow. And pairing a top rookie with a legend like Rodgers even for a year or two, that's how dynasties get built. Rodgers has shown before that he can elevate young QBs. Just ask Jordan Love. If the Steelers are thinking long-term, this could be their chance to go from purgatory to powerhouse in one bold swing. When the Steelers chose not to re-sign Najee Harris this offseason, the assumption was simple. Jaylen Warren is the guy now. And honestly, that made sense, right? Warren was a fan favorite from the jump. The undrafted underdog who bulldozed expectations and brought real juice to the offense. He wasn't just a change of pace back. He was the spark when the offense sputtered. Whether it was ripping off, chunk runs, throwing down blitz pickup blocks, or taking screen passes for big gains, Warren made it happen. While Najee Harris brought physicality and toughness, Warren brought explosiveness and versatility. And together they gave Pittsburgh one of the most reliable duos in the AFC. So now that Harris is gone, it's Jaylen's time to shine. Or is it? Not so fast. Steelers insider Jerry Dulac, a guy who's been plugged into the organization for years, dropped a bomb this week during his live chat. When asked about the running back situation, Dulac said something that made eyebrows raise across Steeler Nation. I'm not sure they view Warren as number 1 or 1A. That will depend on who they draft. I'll tell you this, RB is right behind DL in the way they will approach the draft. Let that sink in. According to Dulac, the Steelers don't necessarily see Jaylen Warren as the next workhorse. In fact, running back ranks as the second highest priority heading into the 2025 NFL Draft, right behind defensive line. That's huge. Now let's be clear, this isn't about whether Warren is good enough. The team knows he's talented. They love his heart, his explosiveness, and how hard he works. But being the number 1 guy in today's NFL is more than just flash. It's durability, it's consistency, it's production week in and week out when defenses are scheming to stop you. There's a long history of explosive RB2s across the league who looked elite in limited touches, but saw their production dip once they became the lead dog. Think about guys like Tevin Coleman, C.J. Anderson, or even Michael Turner in his early Atlanta days. Once defenses key in on you, everything changes, and that's the concern here. Can Jaylen Warren take 20-plus touches a game for 17 straight weeks and stay productive and healthy? The Steelers aren't sure, and that's why Dulac's comments matter. The team isn't about to roll the dice blindly. They're keeping their options open, and they might act sooner than anyone expects. Let's talk draft. With the defensive line pegged as Pittsburgh's top priority, that makes sense. Cam Hayward isn't getting younger, and the team needs fresh legs to anchor the trenches. But running back is priority number 2? That's where this gets spicy. If Dulac is right, and he usually is, then the Steelers could target a running back as early as day 2 of the NFL Draft. That means we're talking 2nd or 3rd round, and there are some names to watch. Think about guys like Tre'Veyon Henderson, Ohio State, a home run hitter with great vision, Braylon Allen, Wisconsin, a powerful back built in the mold of Najee. Blake Corum, Michigan, all-around polish, pass pro ready and battle-tested, Will Shipley, Clemson, a hybrid weapon with receiving upside. All 4 of these guys could come in and either split carries with Warren or challenge him outright for the lead role. This isn't just about competition, it's about building insurance. The Steelers know that relying on just one guy in today's game is a gamble. Now let me throw one more twist into the mix. What if the Steelers double down on their backfield overhaul and target a bruiser later in the draft? Someone to replace Najee's between-the-tackles role while keeping Warren fresh in space? There's precedent for this. Mike Tomlin and new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith both love physical backs. Smith, in particular, built his entire offense in Tennessee around Derrick Henry. You think he's not going to want a downhill thumper to pair with Warren? This could turn into a classic thunder and lightning combo with Warren handling the edges and passing game. while a rookie handles the grind. If that happens, it's not a knock on Warren. It's just smart team building. What this really comes down to is strategy. The Steelers aren't questioning Jaylen Warren's effort or talent. They're protecting themselves from the unknown. It's what good front offices do. Running back is a high-risk position. One bad ankle twist, one awkward hit, and your whole ground game goes up in flames if you don't have depth. Plus, the NFL has evolved. We're seeing more RB committees than ever before, and the idea of a 300-carry bell cow is basically extinct outside of a few exceptions. Even if Warren is the starter, Pittsburgh wants to control the tempo, not get forced into leaning too heavily on one guy, and based on what we're hearing, the front office is already preparing for that reality. So here's where we stand. Steeler Nation, Aaron Rodgers has shown serious interest in Pittsburgh. He's working out with DK Metcalf and loving it. He's willing to play for just $10 million. And the Steelers still have the flexibility to either land Rodgers or move up in the draft for a franchise QB. George Pickens may be the trade chip that keeps them in the game or gets them a quarterback of the future. It's a bold, aggressive offseason, and it's just getting started. So now I've got to ask you, what do you think? Do you want Aaron Rodgers in black and gold? Would you be okay with trading Pickens if it meant getting your QB of the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading all of them. And hey, if you're enjoying these deep dive updates and breaking stories, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. This is your team. This is your moment. And this is going to be a wild ride. Let's go, Steelers Nation. Until next time, stay locked in. And remember, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Steelers news, rumors, and fan-fueled debates. You don't want to miss what's coming next.